All right. So that red light came on. A lot of people get nervous because this is high stakes podcasting. You feel all right? You want to go forward?
Thanks. I'm pumped. I'm pumped
Yeah, all
and
right.
ready to go.
Awesome. Well, let's jump into
Good
it.
things
Well,
to talk about.
awesome. Well, do me a favor. Give me your 90-second pitch, who you are and what your company does.
Well, I am Alexis Samuels, founder and CEO of Finlitx Flying Theaters
Okay.
and Museum of Financial Literacy.
Gotcha. So let's walk into that. What does that mean for the layman, people who don't know what we're talking about? Let's get some details on that.
Well, it's a very important topic because we are all impacted by financial literacy. Every single day we have to make financial decisions.
Hmm.
Yet most of us don't realize that the decisions in which we make today will affect our lives for years to come. Those who are financially literate live longer, enjoy better food, better
Hmm.
job prospects, avoid diseases like cancer, heart disease, hypertension. Imagine if you have $20, $30, $40,000 worth of debt and you have no way to get rid of it and don't know how to get rid of it. What happens? Your stress levels go up, your cortisol levels go up, your cholesterol levels go up.
Hmm.
All of
Sure.
these things worsen mortality. And so we teach financial literacy. However, our research into what really makes a difference when it comes to financially literate people is not just sitting in a diner or in a classroom and learning the facts and figures of what a credit score is or how to budget and save or how to invest. All of that's great head knowledge. But what impacts a person much more is the ability to change their habits, behavioral modification. And so we incorporate neuroscience, neuroplasticity, algorithms inside our lesson plans. But it's much more than that. Even to incorporate some basic levels of neuroscience and not immerse yourself inside the learning, studies show, we're talking about real scientific studies, literally hundreds of studies all agree that we may make some immediate adjustments, like the old New Year's resolution to lose some weight, and then find ourselves the following month dipping back into that chocolate cake, whatever it might be, that old habit.
Sure. Hmm.
And so we decided to go beyond that and create what are called flying theaters. These are 4D up to 7D experiences where we take, let's say, 12 seats in our smaller designs. And in addition to pre-shows, which prompts and prepares our visitors for the experience, then we invite them into our actual theaters where they are strapped in and they are immersed into the storyline that incorporates financial literacy decision making. Very exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, what's the origin? How did you get into this? What's your background? What made you want to combine these worlds that you're talking about?
It's been a journey. It's been a journey since I was a teenager growing up in a project complex in Brooklyn, New York, blocks away from the Brooklyn Bridge. And I always wondered, well, on the other side of the Brooklyn Bridge is one of the most wealthy neighborhoods in New York City. On my side is one of the poorest neighborhoods in New York City. Why the differences? And so that spurred me on to recognize that education was the key to success. I actually remember the comment that Johnny Carson had made. I'm dating myself. He said, people will pay more for entertainment than they will education. So immediately I began to figure out how to take what I had learned uh, in the finance district. By the way, when I graduated high school, I was working on Wall Street from the age of 15. What I had learned from those early years and incorporate them into lesson plans. I actually created the first game called Get on the Road to Prosperity, which is still in the market today. I distributed that through school systems, and it's available in schools in 28 states today. And it's used as a add-on in addition to their curriculum.
Sure.
And so gamified way to become financially literate.
Yeah.
And then from there, up through the decades, it has morphed into experiential learning and neuroscience, recognizing how when you add neuroscience and the ability to remap the brain with reward systems that produce dopamine, it actually changes a person's trajectory, their outlook, so that the new habits become a part of what they are. And then it begins to impact all of the other elements that we spoke about earlier.
Yeah. And what would these habits be? Is this just like, buying something every day on Amazon? Is it, 401ks? At some point too, if you don't have it, you don't have it, right? So even if there is education, if I don't have disposable income to invest or whatever it is. So I guess what are the habits that we're talking about that you're trying to rewire?
Well, great question. It actually begins with hope. Many people that have poor habits when it comes to savings, they don't have a motivation. The motivation comes from hope, realizing that I can do this. I deserve this.
Right, right.
It can be accomplished, which then leads to finding out how it's done.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you have that additional commitment and stick-to-itiveness, then you're committed to following through. Everything else becomes easy at that point. Of course, learning how to save, various factors, and multiplying your income or getting on the right job or career path, being an entrepreneur, all of those are different pathways towards success. But if you don't have the motivation to begin with, then you'll never get on that road to prosperity.
Right.
And so there's a global pandemic with regard to this matter of financial literacy. Within the United States, roughly 65 to 70% of those in the US are financially illiterate and living from paycheck to paycheck, and many of which don't have a desire to improve with their outcome, albeit opportunity exists. And so what led us down this pathway is after we incorporated neuroscience, the technology then developed to allow for flying theaters. And so right now, flying theaters are used as attractions in various cities, such as in New York, there's a company called Rise New York. Up in Niagara Falls, they adopted the technology to allow their visitors to now literally soar over Niagara Falls and see the Canadian side and see the US side. So around the world, agencies are developing this technology, but for attraction and amusement purposes. Well, I thought to myself, we understand, and quite honestly, we're the only one who has adopted this technology for education, that if you can incorporate into a vibrant thrill ride, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
financial decision making, that when you dip and you fall as if you were on a roller coaster, you actually are representing the challenges and the pain of excessive debt. That's just an
Mm.
illustration. But then
Sure.
you rise psychologically, you're being rewarded for making the right decisions, twists, turns. And then add to that rumbles and vibrations coming from your seat, and add to that mist or scent. All of these elements immerse you inside of a large dome screen that surrounds you so that you experience the decision making. So now when you're out in the real world, what are you going to do? I remember this. It's going to more deeply impact how you respond or you react when you're in the real world making these kinds of decisions. Because studies show that if you simply attend a lecture on investing, it may be good head knowledge, but the average person who attends that kind of a lecture on some kind of finance or financial literacy loses it, even doesn't remember it from an intellectual standpoint 3 to 6 months later,
Right.
much less impact their life. And so we've partnered with companies like Microsoft, like NYU, New York University, for the data, Pixar for the extraordinary ability to write and publish storylines. We're all familiar with these big names. The Smithsonian, because we've also wrapped around the theater our own, we founded it, a Museum of Financial Literacy. The very first one in existence globally. There is no museum dedicated to financial literacy. And so this provides a great opportunity for those who would want to invest within our company. I know I'm not supposed to mention numbers, but it is an extraordinary opportunity to go from a place where there's no competition to establish at the tip of the arrow an industry that everyone is really, really, really excited about.
Yeah. But let's talk about um what are we investing in at this point? I mean, is it tickets to the movie theater to some degree, right? A ticket to this? Is it is it a course packet that somebody is it long term? Is somebody signing up for a subscription? Just what is the actual business plan behind the scenes that people are investing in right now?
Finlitx Global Corporation owns a number of brands. Investors are investing in Finlitx Global Corporation. It is a financial literacy ecosystem, which includes the Finlitx Cafe, which is a high-end, if you will, Starbucks on steroids sort of cafe. Everything themed to financial literacy. Come inside and get your cash flow latte. Everything related on the menu. If you go to finlitx.cafe, you'll see this menu also, where you can come into a real brick and mortar building and you can experience this ecosystem that is teaching you. You're immersed in financial topics. Additionally, there is the Flying Theater. In a smaller location, which we're building out right now in Philadelphia on 30th
Okay.
Street, a block away from the Amtrak station there. It's a real brick and mortar experience that will receive field trips from schools. Remember, in the United States, some 38 states now mandate that administration teaches financial literacy to their students. And a major problem is that students don't have the space within classrooms. Teachers don't have the financial literacy to teach it themselves, the funding for it. So we are also included underneath the umbrella of Finlitx Global Corporation, a hybrid learning center. So online coursework as we partner with school districts around the country. So all of those things are involved. Then there is our own coffee brand, which is called Millionaire's Brew. That also falls underneath the Finlitx Global Corporation umbrella. And now we've added to that the Museum of Financial Literacy. So without going into investment numbers, I can speak to attendance. So when we become that center for financial literacy in each city, right now we're building out Philadelphia and Brooklyn, New York.
Okay.
We're looking at a combined student population of 2.4 million students, each of which have the need to partner with various financial literacy programming for curriculum, and being a center where they can go for a field trip and enjoy this flying theater experience. We anticipate always being booked solid over the next 2 to 3 months. In addition to that, because it's a flying theater, it attracts the tourist populations. Within the city of Philadelphia, they receive 65 million tourists each year. In New York City, they receive over 1 million, I should say 100 million tourists each year, just passing through Midtown, looking for Broadway shows and things of that sort. So we anticipate our projections show will attract upwards of 5%, partnering with the tourist agencies, the hotels. Being a museum also, we're able to attract that museum attendance.
Hmm.
So that being said, how do we make money? Well, we make money through admissions, tickets.
Hmm.
So we're attracting the general population, the tourists. We are anticipating upwards of 400 to 600, depending upon which unit, Philadelphia or Brooklyn, per day, that will come through the experience with an average ticket price of about $45. It's very significant in terms of the revenue
Hmm.
generated. And I should go back and say the COGS, or the cost of goods sold, for build out as well as management, build out per unit is about $4 million. Revenue during the first 16 months is $8 million per unit. So we're able to pay down debt during the first year. In addition to that, everything after that is just revenue and, of course, maintenance expenses.
Sure. Sure.
So we're building out Philly, Brooklyn. We have on schedule to build out over the next 6 years, Los Angeles, Chicago, and 4 other locations, up to
Wow.
8 locations. And again, we can't go into the details of specific numbers or ROI, but it's a very, very significant opportunity. to invest in a impact-driven need.
Hmm.
Education impacts poverty, it impacts health, and it solves a major problem that the school systems around the world haven't been able to address by incorporating this fully immersive aspect of financial literacy.
Yeah. And do you see that there's a sort of perfect user for this? We're talking quite a bit around education, but then you're talking tourists that just come around. So, like, and how is the content curated for, I guess, the 15-year-old, let's say, as opposed to the 45-year-old person who, is thinking about retirement? Feels
Yeah.
like that's a big gap there on top of, is it, hey, this is how a checkbook works? Or again, this is how compounding interest happens in the stock, in your investments or whatever it is, right? Like, feels like there's just a huge range of what this education could be. How do you guys sort of focus on that?
Well, that's a great question too. And that's how we started, by understanding the data. When we understand, and again, this comes to our partnerships with NYU and also with Microsoft, and even I should mention Lego, we're able to understand who our clients are. We're family oriented. And so that means having content for children up to 8 years old, having content for middle aged children from roughly 8 to 12, and then having content for those above that into their teenage years. And this pretty much mirrors the school population, but we're also family oriented. Like on a museum, the difference you'll see between walking through the American History Museum, Museum of Natural History, or one of the other historic museums is that while those museums provide large spaces for reading, for looking, for observing, our space will be for interaction,
Mm. Hmm.
not dealing so much with the past, although many of the exhibits will explain the past. But we're dealing with the here and now and how to apply this experientially in our lives as we move forward into this digital age. And so that's where the Museum of Financial Literacy differs. It's more vibrant, it's exciting,
Mm.
it's robotic. We have robots
Hmm.
greet you at the
Mm.
door
Mm.
that can explain and answer any financial literacy question. Very exciting. This is really where things are today. What about the digital economy? Do we know about the digital economy? Are we afraid of the digital economy?
Right, right.
So it's for the average consumer. And so that's another block of visitors. Communities, community organizations will flock in droves, to our location. So we're looking at very, very significant support from communities. We partner with libraries. We partner with entertainment agencies. The one in Brooklyn, for example, is just 3 blocks from Barclays Center. Our headquarters in Brooklyn it's actually in the Albee Square location where in 1857, the Dime Savings Bank was established. And I remember that as a little boy growing up in that same area, students from the local schools were invited in with their families to open savings accounts. And all you had to do is deposit 1 dime and you can have a savings account. Well, they were bought out. They're no longer in business as a bank, but the landmark property is still there, and we're in that square.
Oh, awesome.
And we're
Yeah.
carrying that legacy forward now into the future of becoming personally involved in the lives of the entire community. So we have locations on the map that we're eyeing to open over the next 6 years. And that enables us to spread this concept, including the museum, nationwide.
It's cool. That's awesome. Let's walk. I mean, we've got milestones, you got growth plans. Where do you see kind of milestones and KPIs in year one, maybe year three and year five? What's in that pitch deck for the roadmap?
Well, uh, 2 are being opened. We're in the process of building out right now. They'll open in about August, September 2026. After they are opened, we will continue to move throughout the United States. We're looking at Chicago and Los Angeles during the early part, spring to summer of 2027. And then we're going to double our footprint across the United States in other key locations, up to 10 units, actually.
Well, real quick, when you say you're looking at those, what does that mean? Is it space? Is it a type of location? Is it demographics? Like, what does it mean
All of the
Los
above.
Angeles, you know what I mean? Just all of the above.
Yeah, all of the above. We have a very, very strict search, if you will, department
Mhm,
where we have to locate ourselves in areas that are attractive to foot traffic and to partnerships with universities.
mhm.
For example, in Philadelphia, we're in University City on 30th Street, in between Walnut and Chestnut, if you're familiar with those two areas, which is literally in between Drexel University and UPenn.
Mm, okay.
The only retail space in a 16-story dorm building, new building, housing 800 students. And so we're able to service from right there in that location. So we look for the demographics, generally speaking, of a large school population, school clusters, university clusters. Because we sign agreements with these university and public school systems to be able to provide them with the financial literacy curriculum as a hybrid adjunct to the actual schools. So being positioned location-wise close to these universities in the heart of the school systems is very important to us.
Mhm.
We look for combined household income as the demographic that we reach out to primarily of about $75,000 combined household income. We look for those ones who are, if it were age a factor, anywhere between Gen Z and millennial, but we partner with organizations to be able to satisfy the needs of those ones that are transitioning from school age into adulthood. And we partner with other organizations too, where we train to become financial advisors. It's a complete ecosystem. So if you're in school and you're introduced to these immersive financial literacy programs early on, it helps you establish, as we mentioned earlier, the hope,
Right.
the dreams. And then we provide all the tools to allow our visitors, our clients to be able to access them.
That's awesome. Well, if people are interested in what they're hearing right now and they want to get in, they want to support, where should we send people right now?
Well, they can send them to our website, which is finlitx .com,
Okay.
FINLITX.com. And that's where they can also sign up to get further information, to get on our mailing list, if you will, participate in any of our programs, and to invest.
Awesome. Yeah. And you are doing a crowdfunding campaign right now? I believe it's over on Net Capital, if I'm not mistaken. Is that something that you see kind of keeping open for the next few months? Is that something that somebody can go to as well?
Yeah, they can go to Net Capital right now. What we do is we recently launched that platform, and we'll be extending that. Primarily, individuals will go there and they'll engage in smaller investments, but we also take in accredited investors as well, major partners, um, and they can contact us directly. And they can do that again at social, the word social at finlitx.com.
Awesome. Well, it's a great conversation. I think what you're up to and what you're planning is just it could change everything for a lot of people. And it's a great mission. I've been following from the sidelines for at least a few months here. I keep checking in because I'm digging what you guys are working on. So for all of our listeners out there, go to the show notes if you want to dive in more. Click on the links that I have provided for you guys. Reach out, connect. I think there could be just an amazing stuff that you're working on. Thanks again so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jeff, for having us. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.